thing and the bell's gonna ring. School's out, sucker!
Ding dong, get off my stage. Next!
I've covered teen shows far and wide. Never have I seen a show that was so willing to jump into sexism, theft, and more banned episodes than I've seen in any cartoon. 16 is the epitome of the perfect teen show, taking place in a mall of all places. They don't go to their homes, we don't ever see them outside of this area. It's super nostalgic, the way these guys like fit into each other's lives and how they prioritize what's important, and honestly, it feels more true to life than life itself, if that's not a giant statement to make.
Wouldn't you be more attracted to a guy who knows just what to say to the ladies?
Sure, you know any?
If the characters don't look familiar right off the bat, you definitely recognize the giant lemon and the main set. So let's jump into the chaos that is this Canadian TV show that tried to break 1 million Americans' hearts. So why don't we follow Jonesy, Nikki, Jude, Caitlin, Wyatt, and Jen through their adventures of puberty in one of the most authentic teen shows I've ever witnessed, 16. If you grew up in the 2000s, you probably caught it on Cartoon Network. We're gonna go through all the episodes in season 1, at least half of them for this first video, and if you guys like it, we'll jump into more episodes later. But sit back and get comfortable because this one is a interesting one. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny 2000 and Johnny Tunes coming at you with another cartoon retrospective. If you guys like these, make sure to like, hype, subscribe, whatever your doctors told you to do. And let's get into season 1, episode 1.
You have got to be the most irresponsible, clumsy, spoiled girl I've ever met. This grapefruit has more sense of responsibility than you. At least it knows it's supposed to get squished today.
Here I am talking about teen shows, sitcoms, like what was shown in the 2000s, and I've never covered the show 16. I am ashamed. This is such a classic show by the creators of Total Drama Island, as you can recognize the character designs, and it really blew up in Cartoon Network in the 2000s, and this show is just so unforgettable to a point where they even had episodes banned because of the mature content they had to cover, because they were not worried about talking down to teens. They wanted to just give us the teenage experience firsthand by showing us a mall that has all the main characters in it and just specifically what they do at that mall. I mean, sometimes they'll go outside the mall, but like very rarely. Even in the episodes I've seen, I cannot remember which times they did or did not. So we're going to go through the first 13 episodes of this astronomically confusing series and see why 16 is the ultimate teen show for everybody, and it does not hold back. Canada does things surely differently than us.
No offense, but you don't know what it's like to crash a vehicle.
Oh, I know about crashing, dude. That gross feeling in the pit of your stomach, the screech of tires, that...
No, I'm not wearing that.
If you want to work here, you are.
But I'll look like the biggest loser in the mall. No offense.
I didn't realize this show had an official pilot until I saw this. It's called Take This Job and Squeeze It, episode 1 of 16. And it's all about the main girl, the blonde girl, Caitlin, getting her job at the Lemon. And it all follows from her perspective, which actually makes so much sense looking back at the show now. I feel like since they're all hanging out at this giant lemon stand the whole time, it checks out. And she's a spoiled brat.
Pink is back in, and my closet is totally pink poor.
They give us like a London Tipton-like character, which is actually really fun because she's so rich to the point of just straightforward ignorant. And you know what? You gotta have a flawed main character. Her best friend is like a background character for the rest of the show, but we get a really nice view of them all, introducing us to like the environment, like how chill it is, and then the theme song kind of gives away that she's gonna get the job. Yeah, this coming in too early is like kind of crazy. I feel like it's hard to like believe it. We have Nikki and Jonesy as the first characters we get to meet, and Jen, who is like the sporty character, working at the lemon stand, which turns out to be her first job. I know her so much from like the later episodes, but hey, there has to be a chronological view of this, huh? So she's complaining because she just wants to get rid of her job once she gets the job she really wants. And, you know, she meets Caitlin, everybody meets Caitlin, and doesn't like her. She's very snotty and rude, and I totally agree. This whole friend group seems to vibe on their own, which is kind of the cool part about all of this. You feel bad for Caitlin Caitlyn in that sense, that she doesn't really have anybody she cares about or friends. She gets her credit card declined, and that's for the first time in her life that she's like super rejected, and she has to kind of figure out what to do about it. The only way she could spend money at this mall or continue her lifestyle is if she were to get a job, which she doesn't even consider doing.
Is that the uniform you have to wear? That color really doesn't suit me.
In the B plot, we actually get introduced to all the other characters and their aspirations at the mall, which their goal is to all make sure they have a job to sustain them through the summer so they can make money and hang out at the same time, which is kind of a genius plan, to be honest.
I'd be a Christmas tree.
I guess I'd be a maple.
No, wait! A dandelion.
I'd rethink the hat, too.
I thought this was a skate shop.
Yeah, so we get a really good perception of what the characters are actually like through the interview process. Jonesy ends up being known as the character that never can keep a job, which I find hilarious. But this does such a good job at introducing us to 6 different people at once, which I was worried would be really hard. So Caitlyn needs a job, and as you can tell, Jen doesn't like her job, so it's the perfect switcheroo, where Caitlyn ends up taking over this role. Jen and Caitlyn kind of have a moment when she's crying, and it's really sweet to see them like connect on like an emotional level, despite the fact they're like from 2 different worlds. Meanwhile, Jen cannot find anybody to work at the lemonade stand, so she ends up hiring Caitlyn. At first, Caitlyn is doing like a horrible job at this, and literally the friends are just around to make fun of her. It doesn't seem like any of them are friends, which I like. It feels like we're kind of earning this. Until Caitlyn's popular friend kind of shames her for doing this whole thing and cuts her off as a friend, which is really sad.
It's nothing personal, it's just that you're wearing a lemon hat, Kate, and polyester.
Poor girl, and she does not treat them well, so like you don't think that they deserve to be friends, but she does start to change her attitude. So Jen ends up getting the job she wants at the stand, but you know what? This coach is super angry with her. And this is her new boss at the sports store, so this is kind of a big deal. Luckily, Caitlyn jumps in to defend her, and that's really the least she could do considering she called her out. I feel like this character is just so rude in the first episode, but at least like there's a chance for them to get to know each other and actually earn it. So she ends up keeping her job at the lemon stand, allowing Jen to move on, and Caitlyn stays here by herself from now on. Meanwhile, Nikki ends up finally agreeing to a job, one that she isn't really comfortable with. It's just a bunch of blonde, perky girls.
Welcome to the khaki barn team! Welcome to the khaki barn team!
No way!
I don't believe it.
And she is like this emo goth chick, so it's like kind of a nightmare for her. Perfect way to start off a first episode. We got conflict, we got characters, and we just got 16 being 16. It totally reminds me of like what it was like to hang out with my friends, like how we avoided different adult responsibilities and just kind of kept up with our own specific friend group. And seeing them all as the workers and the people in the mall, like it's just so relevant to how being 16 was. And I can't congratulate the show enough because it's so smart with that. I like the mall cop the most. I remember him, but he's like not in it super much. I'm just excited to see him be in it more, so keep an eye out for him because that's a good one. I can't tell which characters I like the best. I feel like Jude is like the most sensitive, and I feel like his like chill demeanor is super relatable, and you could tell this voice actor is the same guy who does Chris from Total Drama Island. It's so cool to think that there's such talented Canadians out there.
But you're the best worker, like, ever.
Yeah, like really.
I'm just trying to...
So episode 2 of this show actually continues barely started character developments. Like, for example, Nikki and Caitlyn still are not friends. They're like so at odds with each other, despite the fact Caitlyn really tries with her. Jude works at the stick stand or whatever. Like, he's just giving away sticks of hot dogs and stuff.
Can I have the Polish sausage stick-it? Flawless.
Everybody is so hyper focused on their job that they're like driven insane, especially Jen, who this episode is primarily about. Like, but yeah, they're teenagers, they're overwhelmed, and they don't really know how to deal with it. Jonesy apparently just got a job at the mall amusement park. Ooh. And so he's trying to convince everybody that they need a day off, convincing everybody one by one that they really deserve it. Jude tries to give a whole speech about why teens shouldn't work, and I don't know why, it's just so funny to me.
We're humans because millions of years ago, some ape took a day off and invented tools. That ape decided, I'm not going into the tree today. I'm gonna go build a small car out of rocks, or maybe teach a cow to give me some milk.
and they really get a plan together. And it definitely seems like everybody's ready to go through with it, except for Jen, who continues to protest. She's not having this. She cares too much about her job, which I like following the neurotic one. That's so interesting. So everybody's in on this plan, and they pretend to be sick. That's why the episode's called the Big Sickie. So everybody tries to lie to their boss and then meet back up at the lemon stand. And this is another great excuse to look at characters, to hear how they're willing to lie to their bosses. And you know, some of them are good at it, some of them are bad at it, and Nikki is just threatening them. I can't believe she even still is working at this job.
In fact, she makes me kind of crazy. So, for your safety and the safety of the fine patrons of the Khaki Barn, I am taking the day off. Any objections?
Jude literally takes a mop and tries to make it look like he's there, which is definitely not gonna work. Throughout the entire episode, a guy thinks he's being waited on by him and just, like, is unfazed by it.
Just a little service would be nice.
Meanwhile, they're harassing Jen to continue to get off her job, but she said no multiple times, guys. Like, leave her alone. She just does not want to get in trouble. I feel like they could have fun without her. I don't know why they need her to go.
I don't want to lose my job. I'm trying to be responsible.
That's so overrated.
So one by one, they all successfully get out of their jobs, and great, they're ready to go hang out at the park. Except for the fact they end up calling Jen's boss for them, saying that Jen is a dying sister or something. It's crazy.
Emergency at home! Your Aunt Beryl had a fall!
My aunt who? Hello? Hey, it's me. We're breaking you out.
So basically, Jen gets out of her work and doesn't even want to. Like, she said no multiple times, but now it's too late. She has to do it. When Caitlin shows up, they do a horrible performance to make it look legitimate, and it just makes it worse and worse.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, paramedic John Gage. And, dude, I'm totally a paramedic.
We're here to take you to the hospital.
This whole episode is about getting Jen out of work, and I feel so bad for her. She ends up being super excited to get this break, and she's like grateful that they actually convinced her to do this, until her boss shows up at the amusement park, which why in the world would you go to the same mall that you would work your respective job in? I can't believe they all did this. Like, they deserve to get in trouble. But really, it's just Jen. Thank God everybody stands up for her, and she does not lose her job by the end of the day.
Now that man needs to take a mental health day. I mean, it's just a stupid store.
Oh gosh, but still, like, it's not fair how it played out for her, and her friends are really disrespectful in this episode. But hey, isn't that just what the real friend experience is like?
Point.
That's why they invented this game. To build a better unsafe driver and make the streets safer for you and me.
So episode number 3 is called The Slow and Even Temper, and we get a lot of good glimpses into a bunch of characters. For instance, we start out with Jen, which we kind of know the best at this point. I mean, that last episode definitely defined her as a character, and she needs to learn how to drive. And of course, like, the craziest person to teach her is Jude. Like, this chill stoner guy is just gonna teach her how to drive. I can't believe that's even a part of it.
So, do you know the ending? Who did it?
Jude, it's a driver's manual.
So the chauffeur probably did it.
Meanwhile, Caitlin's trying to convince Wyatt to get a nice jacket, but he's too scared to let go of the one he wears, which I've never seen him wear before, so I guess it's not that lucky. He won a songwriting competition in this jacket, so that's why he's, like, defending it so bad. Meanwhile, they bet Jonesy can't get a job working as a security guard at the mall. And this actually does come up later. He ends up meeting the mall cop, and I get my favorite character finally.
Do you think you got what it takes, punk? Do you?
Yes, sir.
All right, maggot. Let's see your stuff.
Jonesy does a bunch of unnecessary tests from the mall cop to get approved to have this job, and it does work. I can't believe he does a good job in the end of the day.
Hold on, I've got something for you.
Whoa!
He's doing 10 in a 40 zone.
But, officer...
Save it for the judge, ma'am.
Jude convinces Jen to give him a chance and actually teach her how to drive, which becomes more like a shaman experience. Like, he's, like, more angelic. He puts her in front of an arcade machine at first, which is kind of a good idea. So she gets behind the wheel, and she just thinks it's pointless, but hey, it's cool.
That the reason drivers can't handle unsafe situations is because they don't practice driving in unsafe conditions at crazy speeds.
Wyatt ends up having the most unlucky day ever once he loses his jacket and is trashed by his coworkers. He's in a really bad position. Caitlin and Nikki end up bonding over the whole Wyatt's jacket incident because they're the ones who got rid of it. Oh my gosh, these guys are crazy.
When he realizes he's not dependent on it like he thinks he is, he won't have to wear it anymore.
Is that a bad idea I smell?
Oh no, it'll work.
Meanwhile, Jonesy is trying to take advantage of his mall cop privileges by expecting free lemonade and trying to get things from different people, which is a very disrespectful way to use the badge. He's somehow able to win the mall cop over by being the best security guard ever, which is insane. Once Jen does a good enough job at the arcade game, Jude thinks she's ready to get behind the wheel, but he ends up taking the keys from Jonesy, who actually can get into the car store at the mall.
Even say for the keys to the display car in the atrium. Could I see them for a sec?
Sure.
And so they end up getting behind the most expensive, newest car ever. And if you know how expensive these things are, you'd be just as worried as I am because they're gonna cause a scene. They end up driving the car into the fountain where Wyatt's jacket is. Oops, so now everybody's getting in trouble. Jonesy gets fired from being a security guard. Wyatt gets his jacket back, and
My lucky jacket's gone, my Discman is toast, I'm soaking wet, and my audition is in 20 minutes.
You ducked just in time.
That car just flew right over your head. You should be dead right now.
You are so lucky, and you didn't even have your jacket, which I just found.
I think Jen's not going to be able to drive after this one. I don't know the law too much in Canada, but they definitely couldn't get you your license sooner. Wyatt ends up fully doing the performance without his jacket, only to realize that it wasn't just a lucky jacket. So yeah, it's a lot of plots going on at once, but we really get to see all their individual lives in a really quick way that is so entertaining, honestly. This show is just really good. Jude and Jen being a pair in this episode, they are good off of each other because of his chilledness and her stressed outness. That's a really good dynamic. Along with Wyatt being so neurotic, he is one of the most uptight characters, and I feel I didn't realize it until this episode. He's also even a little bit superstitious because this was a weird outcome. I think we're gonna see more of that with him in future episodes, but yeah, these are the first three.
Oh, hi guys. What'll it be?
Okay, so the next episode covers a lot. It's called A Lime to Party. And this is when we see that Jonesy really can't hold down a job. He basically is working at this giant lime this whole episode. We start out with a cold open, and we learn that Caitlin's really not good at her job, and Jen is criticizing her for it a lot.
Can I get a lemonade smoothie?
The power of this pink cardigan will now permeate the card and increase the credit limit.
This ends up causing a lot of conflict because Jonesy ends up opening up a lime shop immediately across from Caitlin. I mean, it's not technically his store, so it's not his fault, but he does start working there, and it actually starts to drive the lemon stand out of business.
This sucks. I hereby christen thee the Party Lime!
So it kind of draws a lot of attention to how bad Caitlin is at her job. Jonesy is dealing with the moral dilemma this whole episode that just because he's doing good and his friends are doing bad, is he going to go through with that or just keep partying? So then the B plot is about Jude, Nikki, and Wyatt. So Wyatt gets tickets to go to the Wombats concert, and Nikki and Jude both want to go, so they have to start stepping on each other's toes to get Wyatt's affection.
I'm trying to listen here.
Here you go, buddy. Just the way you like it, dude.
Ugh, why, that little suck-up?
Which Wyatt's kind of a crazy guy. He literally doesn't even have enough to pay for his coffee, so his crush pays for it for him. Honestly, Wyatt, come on. It's hard not to feel bad for Jonesy because he genuinely likes his job and is actually successful at this whole lime stand, but Caitlin doesn't like her job. She makes horrible drinks, and for some reason, we're all promoting her. I don't know why. There's this couple in the show that is just always somehow in the scene making out, and this is one of the first episodes they appear urine, which is actually a cool Easter egg.
I'm talking to you, boy!
Caitlin's boss is like this Western guy with a hat. I don't even know. And he catches Caitlin literally celebrating with the lime stand. Turns out he's going to shut down the Lemon and move it to a strip mall, which means Caitlin will not be working with her friends anymore, which is actually a genuine threat. And I'm glad that the stakes are this high because I would also be really stressed if I were Caitlin. So Caitlin tries to have a Christmas in summer event, and yeah.
Just wanted to take this opportunity to wish you the best for the holiday season.
All the friends go except for Jonesy, who is having his own event, and he learns that the lemon stand is going to be shut down, which he didn't actually know before. I feel like it's not fair to expect him to have quit that job just for no reason. Like, at least we know why he should be worried. Nikki is kind of a genius because the way she decides to woo over Wyatt is talking to Serena, the girl he has a crush on at his job, and getting her to go out with Wyatt.
Wyatt is so smart and so poetic.
He is kind of cute.
Oh, but totally out of my league. He's more into your type.
Really?
Which actually ends up biting both of them in the butt because Wyatt ends up taking Serena to the concert. Oh my god, of course. But if I were his friends, I would just be happy for him. Like, it's very sweet. Speaking of sweet, Jonesy ends up pulling through for Caitlin and actually sabotaging the lime, so that way she could continue to have the job she hates and nobody will have a good time at the mall. Kind of a weird message by the end, and yeah, Jonesy gets fired once again, which this tradition will never end, guys. Spoiler alert, he does not keep any job.
Who's watching it?
And Caitlin ends up being able to stay at the Lemon back at her normal spot, which is kind of a win. I don't know. It doesn't really feel completely positive, but at least Jonesy had a positive character arc. That's always good.
Jonesy!
Hey!
What are you doing? Get out! Get out! Get out!
Episode 5 is Breaking Up with the Boss's Son, and this one is actually really funny. So it starts out with Jonesy making major damage at Jen's job, which I don't know how Jen deals with this. Like, this is ridiculous. This is a workplace, Jonesy. She learns that one of her coworkers, Crusher, is getting fired and replaced with this new handsome guy, and she's super excited because she's a teenager and that's just what you get excited about.
Excuse me.
You're excused. Can I kiss you? Help you?
Hey! She ends up asking him out pretty immediately, and I'm like worried the episode's gonna be like a train wreck, especially given the title, but you learn pretty quickly her boss, Coach, is his dad.
If I went over to his house to watch a movie, I'd be at the coach's house.
You've got a lot to say for someone whose dad wears white track pants.
My dad only wore those out of the house once.
So immediately the pressure is on. She starts telling her friends how stressed she is and how this could turn out really awkward, which I agree, Jen. I think this is going to be really scary. Meanwhile, Jonesy is, of course, losing every job he gets. Him and Wyatt hang out in the nerd store, which has a lot of Star Wars memorabilia, and we get one of the nerd kids that becomes a main character after this, or whatever, not really a main character, a secondary character. His name is Darth, which isn't subtle at all.
Jonesy, look, don't touch, remember?
Dude, would you relax? It's just a stupid toy.
So Jonesy ends up using one of the Star Wars wands to break a stereo, causing him to actually have to get a job there with Darth to make up for the money. This plot gets out of hand when he and Darth get into a lightsaber fight. You know what? No, I'm just gonna call it a wand fight.
Must take advantage of slow economic activity to hone his fighting skills.
You've never kissed a chick, have you?
And Darth uses this against him, basically threatening to tell the whole mall. Unless he hooks him up with, guess who? Nikki, of all people. Why in the world would he have a crush on Nikki? I don't understand what he sees in her. Not that she's a bad character, just like what would this character see in her? You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Jen has a terrible date with the boss's son. He's just like watching the sports game the entire time.
I was saying, I won...
Sorry, babe. Just 2 minutes left in overtime. overtime. Shoot it! Shoot the puck!
And I hate this. Like, I'm not a big sports person, but this is really normal in, like, the East Coast territory, that there's just avid sports fans that don't really care about human interaction as much as they do as their sports games. And immediately Jen is like, this is not going to work out, but I can't really break up with him either, so she's kind of in a kerfuffle. Later, she decides to act clingy and be like the most obnoxious girlfriend ever to actually deter him from wanting to be with her. So if he breaks up with her, she wouldn't have to worry about the boss, which actually is a pretty good plan. So she does this, she takes him to a movie, and she starts being really ridiculous.
I want us to share our feelings.
But the movie's gonna start.
But I need to talk. Wait, you want to break up, don't you?
With a heart sweatshirt, and honestly, I love this part. This is so funny. This is like what actually being a teenager is like. Trying to break up with somebody despite the fact that you don't really know if you want to be with them. It's just so funny to me. When Nikki finds out that Darth is the person Jonesy is trying to set her up with, she becomes super angry, as one could imagine. But this guy is like one of the funniest characters. I don't know why, like the things he says to her are just so confident, like you can't blame him. Meanwhile, the boss's son ends up getting more and more attracted to Jen the more crazy she acts, and I am having such a hard time believing this guy. Like, there's no way he likes all this stuff.
So, having fun yet?
I never knew how soft a pashmina was before.
So Jen decides she can't take it anymore, and she finally calls out this guy for like just not being what she wants. And it's so awkward because it ends up on the intercom, which that's actually a new problem in itself. I can't believe this is like barely addressed. But yeah, this guy is actually the same as her. He also agrees that they are not good together. So I guess everybody wins. Nikki is upset that Jonesy set Darth up with her, so she's like, let's get revenge on him.
I mean, Jonesy only agreed to set me up with you because of the videotape.
Videotape? What videotape?
And actually ends up playing that whole video for the entire mall, which is such a funny like way to get back at him. I don't know why. Meanwhile, Darth ends up having a crush on Jen by the end of it, which, oh my god, what a crazy way to end that whole plot. Jonesy's embarrassed, and yeah, this episode is a loss for Jonesy for sure. But yeah, good job for Nikki though this time. We learned that she was a ballerina when she was younger, which is definitely an interesting character choice. I don't know which writer came up with this character.
Just be yourself. Oh, and pretend he's just another customer.
Just another customer. Okay. Hi, can I have you?
The next episode is called the Sushi Connection, and this one's fun because I don't really like sushi myself, so the references are pretty relevant to my life. Basically, Caitlin has a crush on this guy. His name's Kyle Donaldson, and apparently he's this really good tennis player. Caitlin is super insecure around him because she has to wear this yellow lemon hat, and it feels like an earlier episode in the sense that, like, we acknowledge that she's just working here because she's rich and she has to pay off her credit card loans. It's funny how this ends up bringing Jonesy into the plot, because Jonesy he's a Huntington beauty consultant, and he actually plays a big part in this plot, but we'll get to that in a second. At first, the title was kind of random to me until in the beginning, Wyatt is eating sushi and nobody else in the cast likes sushi, which is kind of crazy to me. I feel like it's such a popular dish now. Like, every time I talk about not liking sushi, it's usually an uncommon thing. So Jen basically volunteers to talk Caitlin up to this guy. So later at the job, when he's trying to buy tennis rackets, she ends up convincing him to go on a date with her. Convincing or injuring him, honestly.
This new racket is really, twirly. What do you think of...
Wow! Caitlin hits his head with the racket, and I don't even know if this is like a fair date, honestly. Meanwhile, in the B plot, Nikki is actually taking over at the khaki barn. And if you know Nikki, she really doesn't fit in with the rest of the vibe of the barn, which is actually why it's so funny. Like, these other prissy girls, like, do not know how to interact with her, so it's even more surprising when she's in charge.
I don't have time to argue about this, but if anything goes wrong, it's your butt.
She doesn't do a great job and is slacking pretty much the whole time, until it gets really busy and she has no choice but to actually step up her game. Meanwhile, Jonesy ends up showing Caitlin a dress that's perfect for the date she's gonna go on that night, from the Huntington Beauty fashion place.
So buy the dress, wear it on your date, return it tomorrow morning.
So I get to wear the dress tonight?
And you don't have to worry about paying for it later. No harm, no foul.
He has the remarkable idea of returning the dress the next day so she doesn't actually have to pay for it, or she'll just get charged for it and not have to worry about it later. Kind of a good idea, very Amazon, if you guys ever shop on Amazon.
He's a total player.
Kyle?
Kyle Donaldson. He scored 4 cheerleaders and the coach's daughter in...
Later, Jen finds out that she actually hooked her up with a really bad guy. Kyle Donaldson is actually known as Dirty Donaldson, who is actually known as a womanizer. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this is above the morals for Jonesy of all people, but whatever. She decides to make a plan of action by getting her to go to super terrific Happy Sushi, which would actually make her really sick and ruin the date for her and Kyle.
He uses the Wu-Tang method.
So she chokes on a piece of fish because it's super spicy, and Kyle doesn't even, like, help her, which is kind of disrespectful of him. Like, look, like, he's not being a gentleman. And this guy is such a jerk, the way he's, like, going about this whole thing. Nikki actually kicks out the making out couple, which is actually kind of gross. It's so graphic, the way they kiss in the booth. I can't even believe it's happening. They call her the ass manager.
Whatever you say, ass man.
That's assistant manager. I could fire you for that, you know.
Because her tag says assistant manager, which kind of makes sense, but that's why it was banned from Cartoon Network. So this guy takes Caitlin on a roller coaster, not really polite as to the fact she just got super sick. And this guy just gets worse and worse. He doesn't even pay for the meal.
Sure, Jonesy.
Kyle, don't go. But I barfed for you.
When Caitlin realizes that he's just a bad date, it doesn't matter that she made up all these mistakes, because honestly, it's just so embarrassing. Jonesy and Wyatt kind of comfort her for all this, and it's actually really sweet. I like that they're bonding from this whole situation. The next day, it turns out Jonesy's dry cleaning experience was not as informative as he thought, so Caitlin has to keep the dress, and Jonesy gets fired. So, all around, they both lost.
It says here you were Volkswagen Salesman of the Year and Chairman of the Save the Lobster campaign?
Impressive.
Episode 7 ends up being like a very morally confused episode, honestly. It's called the 5-Finger Discount. We start off the episode with Jonesy trying to get yet another job, and he's like trying to tell everybody in his friend group that he is the master of getting jobs, which is kind of true, but it's only because he lies. He literally lied about everything on his resume. A lot of questionable activities going on in this episode, which actually makes sense that it didn't air in the US for that reason. Also considering the plots revolve around stealing, although it is a very real thing that happens and teenagers try to get away with, but I guess since it ends up on a positive note, they don't like to show this.
Don't worry about it. New store policy. All friends get free drinks.
You can't just make up policies like that.
I've been working here for 4 weeks. I think I know what I'm doing.
Caitlin ends up giving out a discount at the lemonade stand that allows her friends to get drinks for free, which actually turns out to be a horrible idea, but all the friends end up taking advantage of it, as I would too, because that's just a killer deal. Jen is the only one that's morally against all this, which of course she is. And they all kind of share their relationship with stealing, like Nikki took some pants from the khaki barn once, so they're just trying to justify their actions. Meanwhile, Jen, of course, finds a jacket she is super into, and it kind of reminds me of the Sick episode where they convinced her to call out of work, but it didn't work. Yeah, in this episode, they basically convince her to steal the jacket. Uh-oh.
Didn't you cover for 2 girls last weekend?
Yeah.
Aren't you their #1 sales associate?
Every week.
See? The penalty box owes you that jacket.
Jonesy, of course, is like the devil on the shoulder, convincing Jen to steal this whole jacket, and it is not smart at all. She loves it so much and gets to go on a date with this guy who's really attractive, so she just wants to impress him. Meanwhile, Jude forms a relationship with a massage chair, which I did not expect to happen at all. Jude is such a funny character. Like, he literally will just go off into his own world and just fall for anything. He's definitely the heart of the whole show. The next morning, the coach immediately picks up on the fact that this is missing and makes this whole thing an investigative issue.
One of the new Leon's Feds jackets is missing. I know it didn't sell. I checked the receipts.
Oh no.
Oh, yes!
hiring the mall cop to get to the bottom of it, which is freaking Jen out. Now Jen has to hide from her boss's trail, and I would be scared too, because this is for sure a firing reason. Like, you would not get a job again because of this. But you know what, luckily she's 16. I feel like that works as an excuse for a lot of the characters. The fact that they're 16 and still learning is really important to the plot. But I guess the messages you take home from it, like as a teenager, are really important too. Jude's relationship with the chair ends up getting even more ridiculous as he gets kicked off of it for spending too much time on it.
That poor guy.
Oh no, dude just sold Betty.
He ends up winning at the end of the episode, though, because he meets a girl that also had a crush on another inanimate object, and I guess they bond over that, love? And Jonesy is caught, like, multiple times for lying on his resume, because these two guys working at the store essentially want to hang out with him outside of this. He says he's bilingual. Like, I can't even believe how much stuff he thought he could get away with. Like, it's crazy. I would at least, like, put things that are realistic. And then, unfortunately for Jen, Coach Halder finds out that the missing jacket was her fault because of the unauthorized entry code from the previous night. She ends up returning the jacket. The coach actually gives her a break, which I did not expect that. But then she and all of her friends get punished by spending 15 minutes in the penalty box, kind of for all the crimes they've committed.
This is so humiliating.
The mall cop doesn't know all about that, so they kind of get away with a lot more than you would expect. It's just so funny to think that this episode was banned from the US, and even on, like, the Cartoon Network lineup. Ugh.
Don't worry, guys. This is so gonna cheer you all up. Huh?
Oh, my lord.
Whoa.
Well, that cheered me up.
Next episode of 16 we have is Deck the Mall, and it definitely dives into all the anxieties you have around Christmas time, especially since we take place at a mall with these 6 teenagers. Like, it's kind of perfect setup. We start with Jen at her job in the sports store, and, you know, everybody's a lot more demanding than they've ever been. They're frustrating, and this 16-year-old has just had enough.
I don't think so.
She screams because she's so frustrated about the mall at Christmas time, and honestly, I've never related more than screaming in an elevator. Never. And that's not her only plot. We actually learn that her family and Jonesy's has combined outside of the mall. And even though we don't really see it, it comes up a lot in the plot and the tension between the characters, which is actually really good writing.
Jonesy's dad and my mom are kind of dating.
I wonder if they kiss with tongue.
Ew!
What? Did you think they were gonna stay your innocent little parents forever?
Jude keeps referencing their parents' sex life, which is kind of crazy. This is like what I was talking about, where I'm saying 16 is not afraid to go there. I think I heard the word gay mentioned, which I've never actually heard in any sitcom, in any cartoon, like, ever, unless it's like Family Guy or an adult show. But this being like a teen show, like, I was not expecting it. Is disgusted with Jonesy and his brothers and like how they act around the house, and it's all too real. It feels like the writers really dealt with what was going on. It's so funny because in this episode, Jonesy plays an elf in Santa's village, and honestly, I've never seen a more funny role for him to play.
You forgot your candy cane. So beautiful. Have you been naughty or nice? Hey!
Pervert!
All the casts are getting gifts for each other, which is actually so cute. I feel like I did this when I was a teenager, but it's not like super common to do. It's just people you care about. And Jude gets Caitlin the perfect gift, this heart sweater, and I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of good. Jonesy ends up getting fired from his job pretty quickly because he yells at this kid, and the mom is like, he's hitting on me, which is so crazy. I didn't see him get fired this quickly.
Help yourselves.
That's awful! What is that?
The eggnog candy cane smoothie.
Caitlin tries to make, like, this eggnog lemonade concoction, which is the grossest thing I've ever heard, but that's just hilarious. All the cast is, like, pretty depressed about how this year has turned out for the holidays. Like, nobody's having a good time. Everybody is in a bad mood. So Jonesy is like, why don't we go sneak into a movie? Ooh, good idea. So, like, they'll actually just celebrate on their own. Meanwhile, Jen keeps complaining about this annual turkey stuffing contest that she's gonna have to do with Jonesy's family, so that becomes becomes like another point of frustration for her. She doesn't want to spend any more time with this kid. So they sneak into the movie, but don't actually have other plans. Like, they don't know where to sit, so they just sit in the aisles, which is so funny. I feel like if you could have gotten away with this when you were a kid, I would have, but no, there's no way.
Where are our seats?
I said I could get us in for free. I didn't say anything about seats.
No biggie, we'll just sit in the aisles.
They get in trouble, of course, and Nikki yells the ending of the movie to the entire theater, which I think is kind of baller. That's kind of funny.
Vin Diesel gets in an accident and dies at the end. Enjoy.
So yeah, they head out of the theater only to realize that the entire mall has just closed. Oh my gosh. So it seems like they're trapped and nobody is around. And at first you're like, okay, this is going to be a breakout episode, or like you're getting stuck. But then they learn they do have a way of getting out. But why would they when they're in an entire mall? Okay. So then this episode becomes a huge montage of things that teenagers wish they could do if they were alone in the mall. And I don't know how they have this much fun. Honestly, it's pretty creative because I wouldn't know what to do. Jonesy and Jen end up even bonding over this situation, and it kind of brightens the spirits of everybody in the group. You almost feel like very good for them because it's like they deserve this. They've been through a lot. I was through a lot when I was a teenager too. I hope you guys weren't saying that last one. That was actually my inner thoughts coming out. Don't worry about it. And yeah, by the end of the episode, everybody's happy, satisfied, and excited for the new year, which I am too. Jen has finally accepted the fact that her and Jonesy are going to be brother and sister, and it's actually really sweet. Nothing's more relatable than the end, though, when they think they're gonna have a relaxing day at the mall, but it turns out everybody's gonna be returning stuff, so, like, of course that's gonna have to be the ending.
Isn't there some tradition that happens the day after Christmas?
Huh?
The next episode is episode 9, Employee of the Month, and this takes Jonesy to a whole new level. Like, it was one thing to get fired from a lot of jobs and, like, being deceptive in the past, but this time he takes it to another level. He is claiming to be a secret shopper, but not keeping it a secret, telling everybody around the mall so he gets free things.
How can it be a secret if you just told me?
That's the best part. You let it slip that you're the secret shopper, and everyone's so into getting a good rating, they just start giving you stuff for free.
Jude doesn't get it right off the bat, which I kind of find really funny of him. Plot branches off when Jonesy's at the khaki barn and tells one of the managers that maybe they would get a lot more out of Nikki if they promoted her. It's almost like a reverse psychology situation. And of course, Nikki is like never in the mood for any of this stuff. So it's like, why is she even working there? But this manager is like really into the idea.
By the end of the week, she'll be one of us.
Of course, the other blonde girls working at the khaki barn desperately want this Employee of the Month thing. They're always overachievers. But we're surprised to find out that Nikki gets the title. I mean, we're not surprised. Nikki is. And this is like really upsetting to her, of course.
Me?
Reminds me of like even today, like when you're working a job, you try to fly under the radar and only do the amount like you're paid to do. And you know, sometimes you'll overachieve, sometimes you'll like kind of keep it in the ball field. But this is what I wish like the job market was like you promote people just to like see if they could do the job. Except for Nikki, I mean, she really just doesn't want to be there. Meanwhile, Jen has also been trying to get Employee of the Month, and she's like so stressed and killing herself at work, which is so funny because it's like the opposite of Nikki. Like, she takes her job so seriously and only cares about approval, which, oh, what a stressful way to live.
Yeah, but
I've got enough to do without you coming in with your Miss, pay attention to me, because I'm Jonesy, and I always have to be the center of attention.
Nikki vows to not let this change her. She doesn't want to become a corporate mess until other people start asking her for advice and actually caring about her opinion, and it actually makes her wake up a little bit. So while Jen is like trying to get the approval of her boss, she doesn't realize that Jonesy is the secret shopper, and she's prepping for a secret shopper. So she just treats him like really bad, and of course the coach tries to step in, and yeah, he just kind of set her up for failure. Poor Jen.
I need some slick new slacks. Now, get out there and sell. Break!
Yes, coach.
Meanwhile, Nikki actually falls for pretty much everything corporate and loves the khaki barn when she sees this really awesome break room, which I would too. That is kind of an awesome perk for a manager.
We believe that individuality is highly overrated. Facial jewelry does not comply with our wardrobe policy.
Next thing you know, Nikki comes up, her hair's in a bun, and she's all perky. It's kind of really disorienting to see, especially early season 1. Like, it's funny though, because of course she's always been rebellious, and even Caitlyn, who has always been like that, is trying to snap her out of it. Like, they just want their friend back, which I totally get. It's very wholesome to see your friends looking out for you like that, especially as a teenager when you are kind of looking for yourself and testing different things out. Like, Nikki is such a unique character, so it's fun to see her try.
Now hold on, Nikki. Don't do anything you'll regret.
Calmly step away from the lip gloss.
Let me try. Get a hold of yourself, girl. You're turning into one of them.
Jen is sucking up to Jonesy this entire episode, and he's just getting free item after free item to try to make a good review. And I don't know if you could actually give away this much free stuff. And Jonesy calls himself a man of principle, which is crazy because he's literally doing the opposite of being principled right now. So in the end, Nikki finally gets her charisma back and turns the two blonde girls against each other, with her friends actually helping her find her true identity. It's kind of a sweet story when you think about it, but the way it ends up is kind of dark.
Yo, sales chick, I need some service over here if you don't mind.
Bite me. I'm going on my break.
Bad attitude, terrible customer service from the staff. Looks like I'm gonna have to give your store an average performance review after all.
And Jen finally turns against Jonesy, who got fired from the super secret store shopper because, of course, like, he was taking advantage of it. It just has to be karma. It's just funny the way the whole episode plays out. I like how each of them have a different relationship with wanting to take work seriously. And even though we've had these plot lines a couple times, I can't wait to see the next 70 episodes and how they deal with it. Oh my gosh.
They say you shed 40 pounds of skin in your lifetime, so you'll literally be taking home a piece of Wyatt when you buy any one of these personal objects.
The next episode, we finally have like a soul Wyatt episode. Like, we've seen him try to get with people before, but for the most part, like, it was somebody else's episode. I like that he is finally the center of attention. It turns out that they're going to be bringing this singing competition to the mall, which I kind of believe. I don't know if we do that in American malls, but maybe in Canada malls they would do that. I don't know. So he's like asking all of his friends to come and audition with him so he doesn't feel bad, which I think that's a big ask, especially if they don't like to sing. Like, sure, some of them are okay with it, but the rest are like, I would be like, no, I'm not gonna embarrass myself for fun like that.
Listen up, G, got something to say. Gonna break it down now like a powwow, a big bow wow. Yo, don't eat my chow. You like that ring? Check out my bling.
But the mall cop even auditions, which I think is the funniest thing ever. This character is always my favorite. And I first thought that this episode was going to be like one of the friends getting it instead of him, but it took a really interesting turn. So Wyatt, of course, wins right away, and everybody is proud of him because he's very talented. He almost becomes an overnight success. And seeing everybody on stage for a second to try attempt to sing is really such a good addition to the episode. Later, Wyatt asks all of his friends to come see his show, where he wrote this song about them, and it's actually really sweet. It's like personally naming each one of them and what he appreciates about all of them, which I find awesome. So while he's preparing for this song performance, everybody is on their way to go sit down and enjoy it, but everybody gets distracted by something different.
Albatross and Finch never has sales. They don't have to.
We don't have time for this.
75 seconds, I promise.
Like, Jen and Caitlyn get distracted by this sale at the store, and Jonesy starts selling merch for and because of Wyatt, which that's not really cool, Jonesy. He's like going out of his way to like make jobs out of nothing. Dude's in line for a corn dog, and Nikki shows up. She's just asleep the whole time, which is actually more disrespectful than the rest of them, guys. Come on. I honestly think this is so cool to see how each character reacts to a situation like this, like under temptation. And of course, nobody shows up, so Wyatt rewrites the lyrics in less than 5 seconds, which I do not believe is possible. Honestly, I challenge you to write lyrics to a song within like 5 seconds the way he does and still be able to perform it. Everybody is super excited about the song, and it's apparently better since he's trashing his friends now. Yeah.
Jude thinks he's a dude. he doesn't have a clue. Caitlin wears a giant lemon, thinks the shopping mall is heaven, and Jen, she's just plain rude!
So none of his friends are there, so he just kind of calls them out, and nobody even got to hear it. The next day, they're all like feeling bad that they couldn't go to the show, and Wyatt's feeling bad because they don't know that he trashed them in the song. Until the song starts playing all throughout the mall, and people start trashing them. Oh my gosh.
Isn't the sale still on?
Not for you. We don't want you representing our clothes. It's an image thing. You understand.
But I looked really good in those.
The fame gets to Wyatt's head, and he doesn't think he should change the song. He feels justified in all of his actions, which is actually really such a topical teen issue to have. Jonesy, of course, should not be selling his merch. It's even crazy that he's doing so. They actually call it out in one of the lines, which I think is super funny. And yeah, none of the friends want to be friends with him anymore, which is so sad. Once Wyatt starts to see how all of his friends are being treated, he decides to go back to the original song, and all of his friends are there, which shows that they like really care about him and want to support him, despite the fact it was all because of them, which I feel like I don't even know whose side I'm on in this episode, you know? Like, it's unfair that he made this song about them. I feel like if he didn't use their literal first names, maybe the song would work. Like, that's why artists don't sing the name of the ex-boyfriend. They just kind of talk about an ex-boyfriend. But yeah, that's what Wyatt is going through this whole episode. I'm just so glad he has finally got an episode to himself, and it's actually interesting.
I know that look on your face. Remember the penalty box employee policy. Anytime feelings of love arise on the job, 50 push-ups.
Yes, sir.
So the next episode we have is called The Fake Date. And of course, we're starting with Jen. She has a crush on this guy while she's at her sports job. And the coach finds out and is like, every time there's love here, you have to do push-ups. And it's so funny seeing this be an actual punishment.
Now, since I've just mentioned love, I'm going to do 50 myself.
Of course, Jen only has crushes on her coworkers. I love that, like, it's always somebody here. So Caitlin tries to play wing woman, but it just goes horribly awkward. So Jen asks the group, like, what she should do. And of course, Jonesy, who is writing a book for some reason, I don't know why he takes on the role of author in this episode, is like, I can help you. Nikki warns her that, like, this is not a good idea, which I am second to Nikki. Do not let Jonesy teach you. And he's just like, guys just want somebody that looks like a playa.
Actually, I did get 58 points in last year's season. Highest scorer on the team.
What an idiot.
What an idiot. Oh, not you, Jonesy.
Jonesy?
So they give her an earpiece and he tells her what to say, only getting her in more trouble to do more push-ups by her boss. I love how the coach is essentially her enemy throughout this whole show as we keep going. So Jen's embarrassed and it's just so awkward. Wyatt and Jude are convinced that maybe he's a homosexual. Yeah, maybe he's gay. They don't say the word, but...
Maybe he's, you know...
Oh, is he?
They insinuate it a lot, and there's another episode where they do say that word, so I'm a little confused why they didn't say it here. So they kind of put this aside, and Jen needs a date to her work social event. And yeah, she just wants to be able to look like she is desirable, and I guess the best way to do that is to make the other person jealous. Such an old way of thinking that I feel like doesn't go on a lot in today's society, but yeah, it's still interesting this is how we thought back then. So Caitlin interviews each of the boys in the friend group to see which one could pull off going on this date with Jen.
There's absolutely no chance of me getting any, action on this date with Jen, right?
As if.
None.
And of course, for some reason, Jude is the only option. The plot is kind of ridiculous. It's Nikki and Jonesy arguing over a line in a movie. I don't know why the dialogue is just really impressive, like a bunch of little back and forths, especially between Jonesy and Nikki.
I saw the movie and he said you picked the wrong guy.
I saw the movie too, and he said you kicked the thong guy.
I saw the movie and he said, get a life.
The line has the word thong in it, which I also am confused why they put this in here. This must be like a banned episode too. So yeah, they go to the movie only to wait for this line, but of course Jonesy misses it for having to go to the bathroom, and I don't even know why this is relevant to going on a fake date, guys, come on.
Gee, going to a movie with you is like taking my 6-year-old nephew.
You must have one gorgeous nephew.
And something I didn't expect is them to have a romantic tension with one another in the elevator. Oh my gosh. Despite the fact they've been fighting all day, they realize they're spending a lot of time together and actually might want to pursue a relationship. At least they show this instead of say it, which I think is really impressive for a kid's show to pull off. So Jude goes haywire when he has one too many energy drinks, which I don't know why they would put that at a social event, like energy drinks, and yeah, he just causes a big commotion.
Caitlin, I can see right through you.
Try to relax, Jude. Wyatt is coming with some chamomile tea.
This is starting to freak me out. Yellow is mellow. Gotta find something yellow. Yeah!
Seeing both sides of Jude is so entertaining, like having an energized version versus the chill version. Like, this character is so dynamic and the voice actor is so good at playing him. So in the end, things don't work out. Jen is really upset and only learns that this guy does have a girlfriend. So she can't tell herself the excuse that he's gay. He clearly is with someone, and the episode just ends up with her complaining that this is so unfair.
Wait a second. What does she have that I don't?
Here we go again.
Oh, man.
Which is kind of a bittersweet way to end an entire episode, but okay, guys. All around really funny. I don't know if we actually had these experiences in life where you fake dated somebody. I mean, I could see it on TV, but not actually. I get the jealousy thing, like that's come up every now and then, but you know, it's definitely a younger age than 16 to really have those emotions.
And you're gonna get a whole chapter in my book. No, 2. Now arrest her!
So the next episode is Season 1, Episode 12, Mr. Nice Guy, and we're back to another Wyatt episode, which is kind of a breath of fresh air. So Jonesy and Wyatt basically are hanging out, and it's not super usual for these two to be alone together, but Jonesy scores a date with 2 blonde girls for both of them, and of course, Wyatt is a lot more nervous than ever before. We've seen the way he acts around Serena because he likes her, but like not liking these girls, I don't know why he's still so nervous.
And hey, if they said yes, they must not think you're all that ugly.
Hey! He tries to get advice from his friends on like how the date's supposed to go, but you know, nobody's really that helpful. He's so worried about coming across as like a really nice guy, it almost like deters him too much. So this date takes a turn for the worse when Wyatt actually really appreciated the movie and the date, and the girls start fawning over him, both of them.
I feel like asking for my money back. It's meant to point up the bleakness of the life of peasantry in Imperial Japan.
I still say for $12, you should get color.
Yeah, like, he starts talking about his old breakups, and they're like, oh my god, he's so sweet, which is so funny because seeing, like, that sensitive guys, like, get the girl was always such a rare concept, and I like when it came up in the 2000s, because it just, back then, emotions were a little bit more, rare.
Wyatt totally hosed me. I got us a date with 2 hot chicks, and he pulled the sensitive smart guy routine. Now they think I'm a dork.
Maybe it's because you are a dork.
It's so funny watching Jonesy embarrass himself and try to come across as a nice guy like Wyatt. And of course his friends are not supportive. They're like, there's no way you're gonna come across as a nice guy. Like, Jonesy is just convinced that Wyatt is doing some kind of witchcraft to get these girls' attention. So it actually starts being an episode about Jonesy, which I am excited. Meanwhile, Caitlin is trying to get Jude in touch with his feminine side. Such a funny random thing. So like, they give him Vogue magazine, and he becomes a lot more sensitive to everybody's feelings. And it's actually really such a funny commentary on the feminine trope and coming across in 2000 sitcoms, because it is such a positive trait to have emotional intelligence the way women do. So like, having a man actually strive to have that is so perfect.
I think what you need is a little vitamin J, and I'm a lifetime supply.
Okay, that body language said, get out of my face, jerk.
Right! A+.
They get Jonesy to practice on girls with Jude since he's trying to be feminine. They put a little wig on him, and this is hilarious. I love it when they dress up the guys like the girls.
Are you kidding me?
Oh no, you've made her cry.
Can it, Jude?
It's Judy, and that's no way to talk to a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get some new friends.
And Jonesy is actually really good at being a nice guy, which I'm a little worried this is going to be more deceptive for him because No, it's Jonesy of all people, and he can't even hold down a job. So Jonesy actually uses this for evil, which I was completely expecting, and tries to scoop up the twins from under Wyatt. Of course, he's like being competitive about it when Wyatt's like not even meaning to come across that way, and Jonesy's like, using it for evil. Like, he's calling the girls the market, and apparently Wyatt has cornered the market, which, guys, you cannot talk about women that way.
You don't mind, do you?
Not at all. Oh, you just shop your little hearts out.
Could you just hold my purse?
We learn over time that he's really bad about keeping up this nice guy act, considering it's not genuinely who he is. He's just inauthentically portraying this role, and once he sees that, like, he has to do all of this just for, like, 2 girls, he realizes that he can't actually keep this up forever.
Hold on! You just said I was a nice guy!
That's kind of the problem. You're too nice. We're more into dark, moody guys who don't treat us well.
And Jude just wears the wig till the end of the episode. Jonesy and Wyatt finally make up by the end of the episode, and it's actually really sweet, but I don't feel like he earned it. You know, I guess maybe stepping into the shoes of what a nice guy would be and having to deal with that the whole episode, maybe that's his karma, but it doesn't feel fair to me, guys. It doesn't. All around, like, a cool episode that really dives into the feminist perspective, as I know all about. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I'm a male, and I don't claim to know anything that is not my perspective. But yeah, this show is just so good at touching upon all these different categories.
I should try to be a little more like Wyatt, and Wyatt should learn to be a little more like me. Then maybe, just maybe, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, right!
So the final one we're going to cover today is 13, The Girls in the Band. There's about 27 episodes in this entire season, so I just wanted to kind of take a mid-break and see if you guys are actually responding to this, or if I should keep making these videos. But yeah, The Girls in the Band is more about Caitlin and Jen and Nikki, which is actually a breath of fresh air. So they all like this one boy band. Out of all names, they gave this boy band dog toy. It's like trying to be more like Jesse McCartney, Justin Timberlake, like very like girl band music vibes.
They are so cute, it's sickening. Oh, I know!
Help me put it up. If anyone asks, I don't know you two.
But only Jen and Caitlin are not ashamed to admit they like them. In the B plot, we see the panda that dresses up and walks around the mall. Yeah, Caitlin actually knocks it down the staircase, which is insane.
That was awesome!
Causing the entire B-plot to be about Jonesy getting his job as the panda suit, which is, oh my god, it's such a funny idea. He basically just goes haywire and has a good time.
Scram!
Yeah, he's a real natural.
Meanwhile, Caitlin and Jen get the opportunity to be the dog toys backup dancers. And of course they're psyched about this. This is super cool. They're even trying to get Nikki to audition with them, but Nikki hates them just like the rest of the friends. Like, they're like, no, like, this is such boy band music and nobody respects it. Okay, fair. We learn that Nikki does secretly like this band. She's just trying to stay out of the narrative, which is so funny. She's just like ashamed of this fandom. Meanwhile, Jonesy starts leaving the panda suit unattended and just by itself, convinced that other people won't even realize that, which actually works a bunch of times.
This gig is sweeter than I thought.
So, I've been bonding with an empty costume all afternoon. All that stuff I told you about my date, that's between you and me, dude.
Then they start having a talk with Wyatt about why he can't just loosen up a little bit. Like, he doesn't even like to fart. Oh, come on, guys. Just give Wyatt a break. I didn't expect this, but Jude actually breaks the fourth wall here.
The stunts you're about to see are performed by professionals. For your safety and the protection of those around you, Pokey insists that you do not attempt any of what you're about to see.
Nikki ends up getting chosen to be one of the backup dancers, and it seems really unfair. Like, Jen and Caitlin are really upset with her, because obviously she doesn't even like them, so like, why would she join this? And of course, she's keeping this secret the whole time. She's actually even defensive about the fact she didn't even want to go to the auditions, which I'm on her side about. Like, she did not want to be there, so why did they drag her into it?
It's like if you scoped a perfect one-shoulder top and put it on layaway, and then your best friend ran back to the store and scooped it.
Nikki scooped a scope? Oh, I had no idea it was this serious.
So the boys make the entire day into a boys' day out, essentially, playing around with the panda bear costume. Even Jude gets to wear it, and he does like a skateboard trick into the fountain, which has to get them kicked out. I don't know why they're not even trying to stay under the radar at this point. And of course, Wyatt begins to loosen up, and you get to see a more confident side of him, which is really wholesome, because obviously we haven't seen that a lot from him. The mall cop starts to suspect them because, of course, these are the most troublemaking kids ever. Like, they're always at the mall. Like, how is that not already a suspect?
You, stay where you are. I'm not through with you yet.
So they tried to keep it down low. Meanwhile, Nikki gets exposed at the khaki barn for liking dog toy, and she is just so utterly embarrassed, trying to keep it a secret. And then, yeah, the conflict isn't that long. Jen, Caitlin, and Nikki just essentially bond over the fact they all find the boys cute. And it's like, come on, Nikki, loosen up, allow this to happen.
Admit it, you love dog toy.
Okay, I love them. I do.
If anything, this is like the loosen it up episode with Nikki and Wyatt. I never thought they had those things in common, but it makes so much more sense now. And Jen and Caitlin are happy letting her be the dancer, knowing that she actually does care about the band, which is so fair. It just took her this long to admit it. In the end, we see Caitlin's dance audition. It's kind of cringe, and that's how the episode kind of concludes.
Check it out.
We don't really get anything more with the panda situation, which I'm a little disappointed about. Okay, whatever. That is where we're going to stop for now. Whew, yeah. So we just went over the first 13 episodes of 16. We went into the order that the episodes were produced, not necessarily aired, so it might seem a little different on a bunch of different forums. I just had to commit to this at a certain point. But yeah, there's so much that happens that you don't expect to go into a kids show. I mean, it's more so a teen show, but back then it was either kids or adult shows, so the lines were a little bit more blurred. And this one really defined itself as like, no, we're going to be the teen show. Like, we're going to talk about things that are slightly too old for young people and not mature enough for adults. So they really committed to it, and I love that. This and Total Drama Island are such good shows that I can't believe these Canadian companies are coming up with such interesting premises. All around, like, I would definitely urge you to revisit this show if you haven't seen it in a while. I know the animation itself could be a little deterring as it's like aged a lot and feels more like slow computer graphic-y, but honestly the writing is so impressive it makes up for it, and I forget about that pretty easily. But what do you guys think? Do you remember any of these episodes? Would you rather me talk about more episodes from this show and actually make it a continuous series? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and to whoever suggested me to do this show, thank you so much. I was so happy to revisit this. Please check out Johnny Tunes or Johnny 2000, and I will see you guys next time.